All right, well, this is deadline day to get your packages shipped out using Canada Post's flat rate service. That is, if you're, of course, hoping to send gifts to loved ones outside of the province.
And time is also running out for online shoppers using sites that deliver via Canada Post. Valerie Chartrand is the Media Relations Officer at Canada Post and joins us live now on CP24 Breakfast. Valerie, good morning to you. So today is a deadline day. Good morning. What are the tips you have for people trying to send out packages and gifts to their loved ones across the country?
Yeah, so anyone looking to send a parcel or a gift to, like you said, family or friends, they can look on our website for all the options and the dates on there. So for a regular parcel service, you have right up until December 20th to send a parcel locally, and regionally you have up until December 15th. Now, to send a parcel anywhere else in Canada, you have options right up to the last minute on December 21st. But my tip to you would be, if you are ready to send your gifts, please do so. Give yourself peace of mind and cross this off your list of many things to do in the next few days here. And for anyone shopping online, so look at the shipping information that the retailers are giving you. They are giving you deadlines for delivery dates as well. And other tips would be, if you're sending a gift to family or friends, please make sure that your address is complete so that the apartment number is on there and the postal code as well.
Valerie, with the obviously increased volume this time of year, how many more people does Canada Post hire to make sure that you can, get everything done in time or as close to Christmas as possible?
Yeah, so part of our holiday planning is to hire additional season workers. So we have 4,200 seasonal workers coming in to help us this year. We've also added vehicles to our fleet, and we've secured parking spots for trailers full of parcels. So this is part of our plans to make sure that we can deliver all the parcels again this year.
And Valerie, is Canada Post doing anything to tackle this issue of porch pirates this holiday season? We know sometimes when you order something from Amazon, we've reported on stories of people sharing their webcam security cameras of people taking things off the porch. What do you do if you're a person who sends something and you don't receive it and it's through Canada Post?
Yeah, those are definitely unfortunate situations that we don't like to hear. But if you're waiting on a parcel, please track it on our app so that you can see where it's coming to your house. If you're not going to be at home, ask a friendly neighbor, someone that you trust, to keep an eye on your parcel. Or you can also use options such as our preference options that you can ask to deliver the parcel, maybe not on your front porch, but somewhere else that is secured. Or you can also use our flex delivery option that allows you to have the parcel sent to any of the post offices. So these are some options that are available just to avoid those unfortunate situations.
Yeah, okay, it's all good to know, and it's all timely advice, as time is definitely ticking. Valerie Chartrand from Canada Post, appreciate your time here this morning on CP24 Breakfast. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
I'm not a crazy man. Are you a vengeful one?
All right, one of this year's biggest box office draws, Venom: Let There Be Carnage, is now available in wide release, such as via Blu-ray. However, the movie, centered around Spider-Man's frenemy, Venom, played by Tom Hardy, would not entertain millions of fans around the world had it not been for Canadian Todd Mcfarlane, who helmed Spider-Man's hot 90s run and also co-created The Anti-Hero. So joining us live now is the comic legend himself, Todd Mcfarlane. Todd, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Sure.
So, yeah, Venom has certainly evolved since you created him 30 years ago and has now appeared in 3 major films. We saw him in Spider-Man 3 and then exclusively in Venom of 2018, and now Venom: Let There Be Carnage. What do you think about his look and how he's changed from your original inception of him?
My original design was he was way bigger than a human. He was almost like the Incredible Hulk, right? And the reason for that was he had plenty of enemies that were about his size, humanoid, and I wanted to make something really big and massive. The first time he appeared in Spider-Man 3, they didn't really make him very big, I didn't think. And he was a bad guy. And now the last couple movies, they've gone to a way bigger presence with him physically, and he's sort of anti-hero, if you will.
Yeah, but kind of the anti-hero good guy, right? At least compared to Carnage, which we will get to in just a second. Now, Todd, you're pretty much a self-proclaimed perfectionist. It took you countless hours to perfect your drawing of Spawn, which you created when you were just 16. And I read from previous interviews that if you could change something about Venom today, it would be to not make his teeth so white. So can you explain why?
Yeah, because he's a monster, and monsters don't usually have regular appointments with the dentist, right? So if you look at your dog, right, or to pull it back, or a wolf, right, the teeth yellow a little bit just by being out there in nature. But anyways, he's got good teeth whiteners. I would make him a little more grungy.
Yeah,
that's a minor point. It's a minor point.
Yeah, I'm definitely jealous of his teeth. I could use a whitening myself, especially because I'm on TV. Your teeth look pretty white, though. Now let's talk about Carnage. So this is an evil symbiote who latches onto the body of serial killer Cletus Cassidy, played by Woody Harrelson. I didn't think there could be a creature scarier looking or more grotesque than Venom, but clearly Hollywood always knows how to go bigger and scarier. Are you happy with Woody Harrelson's portrayal of Carnage?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they got two top actors in obviously Tom Hardy and Woody Harrelson. The thing is that at the beginning when I created the visual look of Venom, he was the bad guy, right? So you had Spider-Man and you had the bad guy, and they would clash and be good versus evil. Once they moved Venom over to the sort of the hero column, then all of a sudden you were minus that super bad guy. And so they went, now we got to come up with somebody even nastier than Venom, because Venom was sort of halfway in between, right? He'll bite your head off. So they said, we got to take him, and now we have to do essentially Venom on steroids, and that ends up being Carnage.
Yeah, and Todd, you came to stardom at a time when artists really didn't have too much autonomy in terms of breaking out or becoming a star. They couldn't really break out like you can today with the social media platforms and self-publishing. And yet you left Marvel and created Image Comics with a group of other artists in 1992. What's your advice to aspiring comic illustrators and writers today?
Just try and find your platform anywhere. I'm not adverse to anybody working at Marvel or DC. As a matter of fact, I did it, and it's actually a good route. Go there, spend a little bit of time, do Superman, Batman, Hulk, Iron Man, get your name recognition up, and then put yourself in a position where you can now take some of that sort of street cred and move it and go do your own books, right? So, I mean, one of my partners at Image created Deadpool. Another one created The Walking Dead. Right. Another one did Cable. So I did Spawn, and I was doing Spider-Man. So I knew when we started that when they bought Spawn for the very first time, it had nothing to do with Spawn. They just wanted that artist who was doing Spider-Man, and they had to buy the comic book, and then I had to deliver a good product. And Spawn was a character I created in Calgary when I was a kid collecting. So.
Yeah, okay. Well, Todd Mcfarlane, I wish we had more time to chat about this.
Yep.
I know that you're working on the sequel to the Spawn movie, originally made in 1997, so we'll definitely be looking out for that. But thanks again for joining CP24 Breakfast. Good luck. Take care.
All right, be good.
Well, 'tis the season for holiday parties, but the latest advice from officials is to keep circles small, and it's complicating things, especially for workplaces.
All right, joining us live with more for this conversation is Maniza Sheikh, an employment lawyer and partner at Levitt Sheikh LLP. Maniza, thanks for being here this morning. It's kind of a conundrum this year. Last year parties were almost effectively scrapped, but this year people are going ahead with them. I'm assuming you're getting a lot of calls from employers about what should they do, should they continue to go about them, and what are the risks here?
Well, there's a lot of risks, and generally we say as employment lawyers that holiday parties are an unnecessary breeding ground for liability exposure. In this case, I completely get it from the perspective of a lot of employers. Employee morale, Nick, has been at an all-time low throughout this entire pandemic. So this is a nice time for employers to give back and reward their employees. And the question that comes to us is there a safe and responsible way to do it? So outside of the fact that at a holiday party, it's still working hours, and you can't be responsible for conduct or misconduct that takes place during that holiday party, even if it means at an after party once the employer mandated party is technically over. Now with the COVID restrictions, and particularly with this potential new variant, it complicates things even more. So my harsh advice to my clients is, find another way to motivate your employees, because you can't control how responsible people will be at a holiday party. So although employee morale is extremely low, you don't know how responsible people are going to be with respect to COVID.
Okay, and Maniza, let's say you are a company and you are hosting a holiday party. Is there any kind of direction or guidance from the province right now in terms of what employers can and can't do? We know that the guidance is no more than 25 people in an indoor space, but if you're talking about a business or an organization, doesn't that kind of change, or what are the rules around that?
Well, for the most part, the adherence to the rules applies all across the board. So certainly there's nothing within the guidelines that says, look, if it's celebratory and if it's business related and if it's a holiday party, you're allowed to bend the rules. And quite frankly, Jennifer, if anything, it sort of, and I hate to use the word, but it in fact makes things, pardon me, even a little bit more dangerous, because ultimately you have people who, are perhaps consuming alcohol, are a little bit more jovial in nature. And so their ability to adhere to the rules may be affected to some degree. So the adherence to the rules is the same. What I say to employer clients is, if they are absolutely adamant about having some sort of social gathering, try to keep it during working hours. And the reason for that, Jennifer, and try to keep it within the bricks and mortars of the building to the extent that that might apply. And the reason I say that, Jennifer, is because in most cases, employers have, structured their businesses in a way where social distancing is implemented. There isn't too much congregation within certain areas of the building, and of course most people are double vaxxed. To move the party to a banquet hall or to a restaurant, it really creates a scenario, unfortunately, where the employer loses control. So if you want to have something celebratory, be careful in terms of the food that you're ordering. Do it within the building. Keep it during lunch. And quite frankly, Jennifer, key piece of advice would be, just don't do it at all.
Mm-hmm. What about from the employee side? I mean, if you maybe sort of feel pressure to go, I'm sure you've seen a lot of different cases in your career. Has anybody ever been fired for not going to a holiday or Christmas party?
Well, if they have been fired for not going to a holiday party, they shouldn't walk to our office, Nick. They should run to our office. So I can understand that not attending an employee party, a holiday party, might make the employee feel somewhat ostracized, especially, when, work is tough and things have been stressful, and this is the one opportunity to kind of kick back and be celebratory with your colleagues. But if you are not comfortable, there's no such thing as a mandatory holiday party. If you are not comfortable attending a holiday party, particularly in relation to the pandemic in general and your health, there is nothing the employer can do. And if they did terminate you, discipline you, or even ostracize you or malign you, that's a reprisal. And I know you've heard me say that word many, many times.
We certainly have, Maniza. We appreciate all of our conversations with you. Of course, Maniza Sheikh from Levitt Sheikh LLP. Great to talk to you again this morning. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Just 6 weeks after lifting a blanket travel advisory, Ottawa has issued a non-essential travel advisory urging Canadians not to travel internally. The advice will be in place for at least a month.
Now is not the time to travel. And I know after the year we've had, after the almost 2 years we've had, people were really looking forward to getting away, to not having to think about COVID. But the reality is, we have to think about COVID. Omicron means we have to be even more careful, and that's why we've raised the travel advisory to advising against all non-essential travel.
So this advisory, no doubt, is going to have an impact on travelers who are either A, already on vacation, or B, planning on going on vacation during the winter break.
With more on what people need to know is Martin Firestone, the president of Travel Secure. Martin, great to have you with us. So the federal government issuing this travel advisory yesterday, encouraging people not to travel if it's non-essential or only for essential reasons. But I think this word essential is kind of subjective, right? Because after a pandemic where things have been shut down, Christmases have been missed, people are saying, hey, look, I've been in isolation. I need to see my family. This is essential.
Not only that, in November, the pent-up demand and their desire to travel, they tasted it. And basically, it's really difficult for many of them to now take a step back and change their plans. But some are and some are not. It all depends on about risk and who feels like they want to take chances.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like you're trying to jam the toothpaste back into the tube, and anybody who's tried knows how hard that is to do, Martin. So what happens, what is your advice, I suppose, to people who either A, have travel plans booked that are, you know, classically non-essential, let's say a beach vacation or something along those lines. What should people be doing, and what can people do if they decide, you know what, I'm not going to go?
So let's talk about it. I mean, this year is far different than last year. This year we are fully vaccinated, some with even a third booster shot. So the fear and risk of ending up in a hospital and an ICU on a ventilator are far, far different than last year, and hopefully only a mild case at best. But the biggest question I'm being asked yesterday with the advisory, does that negate the travel insurance portion of your policy with respect to COVID? I'm comfortable in saying for the most part, most insurers are not having any issue with this, and they are not changing their policies at all. So people can travel. They need travel insurance. They need to confirm with the insurer it is covering COVID in lieu of the travel advisory. And then it's their decision what to do and whether to go or not.
Okay, and Martin, let's kind of fast forward and play it out a bit. Let's say things do spread like wildfire with Omicron and people do travel and they get stuck, not necessarily in South Africa, but wherever they are. What do they do then?
Yeah, well, that's interesting what you say. You see, it's one thing to get stuck, in my mind anyway, internationally and far away, and another to get stuck just in southern Florida, let's say. So there are concerns, and you will be covered from a medical perspective if, in fact, you came down with COVID or any unexpected medical emergency. But the fear, like anything else, is what if the border closes or the border to our country, and you could get stuck? You can't negate that. It could happen, and people are going to have that in their little checklist of decisions to go or not to go.
The one thing we have noticed, Martin, even in March of 2020, when, you know, there was that whole guidance about, you know, March break travel, go, don't go, you know, stop, go, red light, green light kind of situation here. Canadians, if you're a Canadian citizen, you're likely going to be able to get back into the country. It may just be a little more difficult than you had sort of initially expected.
Yes, we cannot refuse Canadians at our border. No doubt the path and the route of getting there could be a little more difficult. But let's assume maybe that part doesn't happen. The big concern will be just airports. Leaving would be incredible long delays. Coming back, if they do testing at the airport level, I cannot imagine the lineups and chaos that will happen.
And Martin, many people that are traveling right now that are saying, hey, I'm going to go anyway because I booked this trip a year in advance. We had vaccinations. I didn't think we'd still be in this position. Going forward, when people are thinking, all right, I'm going to stay home this year, but I want to book for next year, what's your advice to them? To wait closer to the date until we see how this unravels, or to just book it and then try to cancel it as they get closer to their trip if, fingers crossed, we are not in this situation by the time next year?
I sure hope we are out of it by then. But having said that, they just have to arrange with their end user, the tour guide, the excursion company, the Airbnb, the airlines, that if they have to cancel because of border closure, because of another wave, that they can get a refund, not even a credit, but a refund, because quite frankly, it is very difficult to plan going forward. And you can't be out large amounts of money at the risk of not being able to travel again.
You know, Martin, it's interesting. I think a lot of people, when they've traveled pre-pandemic anyway, insurance, I'll think about that. Maybe I'll get it. A lot of people kind of didn't do it at all. I think this has really refocused the attention on travel insurance and the importance of it, because as we're seeing right now, things can change in hours.
Oh, big time. Travel insurance has taken on a life of its own now. Many people even thought they were covered through OHIP, only finding out now that that is a very small portion of the total cost. So if there's any light in that respect, it has definitely brought the attention of travel insurance as a must. And now with that advisory, you can't imagine all the calls that are coming and wondering whether they are still covered for COVID in light of the advisory. And the answer is yes, they are. So that's the good news at this point.
Well, we appreciate you taking time to talk to us this morning. We know you're really busy right now. Martin Firestone, the president of Travel Secure, thanks for joining us here on CP24 Breakfast again.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Take care.
Last night was the final episode of Canada's Drag Race Season 2, and one queen was crowned Canada's next drag superstar. Here's what's happened.
The winner of Canada's Drag Race Season 2 is Isis Couture.
Yay! Okay, so joining us now is Isis Couture from Ottawa, Ontario. Congratulations, Isis. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you so much. Hi.
Hi, so has it sunk in yet that you are Canada's Drag Race queen?
It feels absolutely amazing. I won!
You know what? It is tough seeing the competitions every week. You actually won a handful of those challenges. What was your most favorite challenge?
My favorite challenge is the design challenges for sure. That is my sweet spot. I created everything that I brought on Drag Race. So to be validated by the judges that they enjoy the things that I create meant a lot to me.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people realize that you create these outfits yourself, you style it yourself, and it's really an expression of yourself.
Yes, that's totally what it is. It is the way that I express myself. It's the way that I express my art. It is my favorite part of drag.
You really touched me with what you said after you were crowned Canada's drag queen. You said, I started my journey on Drag Race as an outsider, but I'm ending it having made more than just one friend. And then you go on to say, thank you for giving me the opportunity to show my authentic self and share this amazing moment with all of you. That really touched me because I think there are many people out there feeling like outsiders.
Yeah, I spent a lot of my life just not fitting in, just never having any friends, being bullied. It wasn't safe at home. It wasn't safe at school. So now that I'm a fully fledged adult and now the winner of Canada's Drag Race, and the fact that I was able to make so many friends and just take all those bad things that have happened to me and turn them into something positive and use that to win the crown is just so amazing to me, and I hope it inspires other people.
Oh, I'm sure you're inspiring a lot of people because many people will be able to relate to that. So congratulations, you won $100,000 and...
I did!
So what are you going to do with all that money?
I'm really going to help my family. My family has been my biggest supporter, and they are my home base. They are what keeps me sane. They support my drag and they love me. So I just want them to be okay. And if there's anything left over, maybe I'll buy a new wig.
I love that. I love that. You know, before we let you go, what has this competition meant for you? What is this moment? What does it mean for you?
This whole competition has meant absolutely everything to me. I thought going into this competition, I knew everything about myself, but just letting that last piece go that I was holding on to and so scared about to really show who the real me is, that is the biggest thing that I take away, and that is the biggest prize. And with or without the money, I feel like a different person, and I'm so grateful for this show.
Well, Isis, I am so happy for you. Isis Couture, congratulations on being crowned Canada's drag queen, a superstar. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations and have a wonderful holiday.
Thank you so much.